الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all good deeds. Allahumma taqabbal siyamana wa qiyamana wa salatina wa sadaqatina wa salih a'malina ya Rabbal Alameen. MashaAllah, we're almost there to finish the khatmah of the Quran. MashaAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Allahumma ameen. So you have started already Hizb al-Mufassal. You know what the Hizb al-Mufassal is, right? Anybody knows what the Mufassal is? Huh? It is from, it is the Quran, man. Yeah, but what part of the Quran? Like, so we all know, alhamdulillah, the Ijza and the Ahzab and all this in the Quran. That's totally different. There's references about what the Sahaba used to refer in the Quran, how they divide the surah. There is, for example, they will say At-Tiwal, At-Tiwal, and so on. I'm not going to go through those details, but I wanted you to focus on Al-Mufassal. Hizb al-Mufassal is the section of the Quran that starts with Surat Qaf, some scholars say Surat al-Hujurat, all the way till the end, till Surat al-Nas. Why it is so important to know this? Because this is the most recited section of the Quran in the salawat. And this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. For example, the Mufassal is divided into three parts. That's Tiwal al-Mufassal, like long section of the surah. And that starts from Surat Qaf or Al-Hujurat all the way until the end of Al-Mursalat. And the Sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ used to recite that part in Fajr prayers. And then you have Awasat al-Mufassal, the medium part of the surah, and that is from Surat Amma, Surat Al-Naba, all the way until the end of Surat Al-Layl. And the Prophet ﷺ used to recite that section in Isha prayer. And then you have the Qisar al-Mufassal, or the short surahs, and that is from Surah Al-Duha all the way to the end. And the Prophet ﷺ used to recite this when? In the Maghrib. So that is the Sunnah, and that is, sometimes we find ourselves that we not really following that part. Sometimes you make long surahs in the Maghrib and so on, but the Sunnah, inshallah, is to do the short surahs in the Maghrib, the medium ones in the Isha prayer, and the long ones in the Fajr prayer. And this section is actually 65 surahs, and 50 of those surahs are Meccan. And you will see from what we know from the Meccan surah, just a reminder, we said Meccan surahs are the surahs that was revealed in Mecca, right? Is it in Mecca or before the Hijrah? Before the Hijrah, mashallah. So this was revealed before the Hijrah. If you look at the seerah, what was revealed before the Hijrah was mainly talking about the Iman Billah, and the articles of faith, the Aqidah, the creed. Because that's the first thing, if you want to make da'wah, is to establish that part. That's why they say this Hizb al-Mufassal, it has tarbiyatul al-ajyan. It means you make sure you revisit this hizb so much, especially when you're raising your children, to let them visit this, and that's where it's mostly recited, so they can have that iman established and get stronger. Because it talks about the iman billah, the tawheed, it talks about the iman bil rusul, believing in messengers, believing in Allah, believing in the hereafter, Jannah and Nar, and description of all these things. It is extremely important to go through this part. There's so much references to this in the authentic references about this Hizb Mufassal. Inshallah, when you get time, read about that. It's extremely important. The surah we're going to, inshallah, go over what we say, what mafad tafsiriyah, just to stop on, is Surat Qaf. Surat Qaf. Now, this surah is Makki, right? And it's among the surah that starts with the letter al-huruf al-mutaqatta'. Al-huruf al-mutaqatta'. And if you remember how many surahs we say in the Quran, they have those huruf start 29, mashallah. We said all of them are Makki except 2, right? The ones that are not Makki, the Madani surahs of those surahs that starts with letters, Baqarah and Al-Imran, mashallah. Like, there are 3 surahs that starts with letters, and those, they carry the name of those letters. One of them is Qaf, and the other one Sad, and the third one, actually more than 3, I should take it back. And there's one, what is it? Yasin, and then the fourth, Taha, right? Taha. So those are the ones. And we've mentioned the meaning of those letters is what? What those letters mean when you say Taha, Yasin, Qaf, Sad, Alif, Lam, Mim. What is the meaning of that? Allahu A'lam. Right, excellent. So Allah knows the best. But if you look at those 29 surahs that starts with letter, all of them except 2 or 3, right after the letter comes in the mention of the book of Allah. تنزيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه, تنزيل القرآن المجيد, and all this. And that's, the scholars concluded that this is have a challenge in it, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran from those letters and show me if you can do anything like this. So this is just to challenge them that right after those letters comes the book of Allah, the mentioning of the book of Allah that relates that, listen, this is the book of Allah, it's from those letters. Show me what you can do. So this is among the challenge. Beyond that, whatever you read in the tafsir book has really no value because it has no authentic reference into it. And I just want you to pay attention to that. طيب. Now, this surah is among the surah that was recited by Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam on a Friday. Now I'm going to quiz you. And my questions to you is going to be, I'm going to ask, please don't throw the answer. Raise your hand, I'll pick on you, okay, to answer. There are 8 surahs that are associated with a Friday. 8 surahs that are associated that we do frequently on a Friday, whether listening, whether reciting, and so forth. So go ahead, raise your hand, and we'll start. 8 surahs, yes. Surah Al-Kahf. You know it from the Sunnah that we recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday. So that's number 1. Yes. As-Sajda, excellent. So this is on a Friday, Fajr prayer. We have in the first rak'ah, As-Sajda, and in the second rak'ah, Surah Al-Insan, mashallah. So now, if we go and make a survey about the masajid that do Surah Al-Sajda in the first rak'ah on Friday and Al-Insan in the second rak'ah, in full, what do you think the survey would be? 100%? 0%, right? Now if the Imam do the Sajda and Insan on Friday, he will answer to the board the next day. You're making too long of a surah, right? So this is reviving the Sunnah. And reading part of the Sajda or part of Surah Al-Insan doesn't cut it. We have to do the sunnah, they have to do the sunnah, inshallah. So we mentioned now the Qaf and the Sajda and Al-Insan. What other surahs? Yes. Surah Al-A'la, and that is recited in Salat al-Jumu'ah, right? In the Salat al-Jumu'ah, the first rak'ah is Sabbih Isma Rabbika al-A'la, and then the second one, Al-Ghashiyah. So that's how many now? We have 5, right? Now what else? We're talking about it today, right? Surat Qaf, right? MashaAllah. Surat Qaf, where the Prophet ﷺ has recited it or discussed it in Friday's khutbah. And you know the hadith of Hisham. She said that she memorized Surah Al-Qaf, Surah Qaf, from listening to the Prophet ﷺ when he would recite it on a Friday. So that she had mentioned that he would do it every Friday. Now every Friday, the scholars say it's not like every single Friday, but most of the Fridays. Now that leaves us how many now? Is it 6 or 7 now? 6. Like, what else? I'm going to forget. Surah Al-Jumu'ah, mashallah. Surah Al-Jumu'ah, also that is been recited. And there's one more surah. Anyone? Munafiqun, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, here we have scholars here. Mashallah, may Allah bless you. So remember now, if you look at those surahs, and you see what is the common theme of those surahs. SubhanAllah, you see all the common theme is the Tawheed. And the common theme is Tadhkirah. You'll see like 3 or 4 of those surahs, Fadhkir, and Innama Anta Mudhakkir, right? And all this. So this is to, like for example, Surah Al-Insan, remind us with the bid'ah of the Khaliqa, like where we, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ. So you'll see all these surahs on a Friday that we revisit quite often. The theme of Surat Qaf, talk about mainly two topics. This is the resurrection and the truthfulness of the message of Muhammad ﷺ. That is the truthfulness of the Quran. That is in the Quran haqq. And you will see through the ayat that the disbelievers, the most thing that they don't believe in is the hereafter. And if they discount that belief, that means they fear, really, they have no intention of becoming believers. Because there's no accountability here. And that's where you will see الْيَوْمَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. It's coming so often, the الْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, because it's so important to believe in the hereafter. When we believe in the hereafter, then we make, we are going to be held accountable, so we behave. So we will take care of that point. And that's where the disbelievers have this issue, this problem here. قاف والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا. This is the hereafter. ذلك رجع بعيد. They don't believe. They just don't believe. Now this surah, if you will see والقرآن المجيد, this is like a sentence, right? But this sentence has a meaning. And I'm going to give you different examples and you tell me where I'm going with that. What is that? Like for example, والضحى والليل إذا يغشى, right? والشمس وضحاها. So all these ayat, they have something in them, and that is al-qasam. Al-qasam. And if we look at the qasam, the taking an oath. Taking an oath is, you have to look for 3 things, right? That is Adatul Qasam, the tool that Allah has taken an oath with, and Al-Muqsam Bihi, like the object of the oath, and Al-Muqsam Alayh, the answer of the oath or the subject of the oath. Those 3 has to be there to understand that oath, to understand that sentence. So if I say, what are the tools of the qasam? You wanted to swear. What is it that you swear with?
Wow.
You swear, you say uqsimu, right? Or you say wa, right? So wawul qasam. That's like wa uqsimu bil Quran, right? So this is two, and there's another tool of qasam, that is
Lam. Lam.
lam. Some people they say lam qasam, some people they say ta'kidul qasam. La nabluwannakum, said wallahi la nabluwannakum. But there's one more letter, and it's only used with lafdul jalala. Ta. Tallahi. Right? So this is the third one. Now if we look at the object, al-muqsamu bihi, al-muqsamu bihi. Now if you and I want to take an oath, what is the al-muqsamu bihi? Allah, right? Can you say, Hayat Ladi, right? Can you say with Nabi, right? Can you say, I know we're coming from Syria, you say Hayat Shawarbi, right? SubhanAllah, right? So and this is commonly happening, right? This is common, our families, and sometimes ourselves. I mean, I came in, it's kind of like culture, you build that culture. And then, so if somebody taken an oath with other than Allah, we say, hold on, right? Because whomever you taken an oath with is ta'aleem. And the ta'aleem for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take an oath with whatever He wants, right? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take an oath with something to show the greatness of that something for us to pay attention to it, right? So that's where it is significant to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath with, right? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath with what? Well, Quran al-Majid. Allah is taking an oath with this. Now, alhamdulillah, we know the tool and we know the object. But now, where's the subject? Where's the substance? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath for? What is He taking an oath? What is He going to tell us about that is so significant, right? So if you read the surah, you really don't find directly. Sometimes you find directly the answer, sometimes you don't. But you will find the answer through the meanings of the ayat that comes in and the theme and the understanding of those ayat. And we just mentioned in the beginning, the theme is the hereafter. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath that you denying there is no hereafter, wallahi there is a hereafter. Right? Wal Quran al-Majid, there is a hereafter. You denying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being a messenger, no, he is a messenger. You denying the Quran is not, revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's asatir al-awwaleen or sihr or something. What you claim, no, it is not. So this oath is telling us. You see, subhanallah, the more you know about the details of the meanings, the more we understand and go deeper into the ayat. So here. إِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا ذَلِكَ رَجْعٌ بَعِيدٌ. You're denying this? No, don't. It is there, and it is canon. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala argues with, like Jidal al-Qurani, how this happened. And you know the rest of the ayat, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings to them, like the people before you, they belied the messengers, they belied the message, and look what happened to them. They've been destroyed, and this is repeated much often in the Quran. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, that's like big vessels that you are, and Allah is closer to ourselves than this, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? That Allah knows everything about us, right? Now there are some people go further, and that's where we have to be careful, right? You know, in the Aqidah, they talk about sects and where the people get into trouble with when they are going further to the meanings of Sifat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Asma' al Sifat al Ula. And And here, نحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد. Some people think that it's Allah with you in terms of physically, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. And that's what we have to be careful. There is two things that, if you read the book of Aqidah, they talk about al-ittihadu wal-hululiyya, like unification and indwellings. And you know, there are some sects, they go to the extreme. They say it's Allah with you, that means Allah is inside you. You can even pray toward that person because Allah is there. A'udhu billah. So that's, you will see that. And you will see that sometimes you run into, alhamdulillah, there's not much that but that's extremely important. Yes, Allah knows. Allah is with us with His knowledge. Allah is Ali. And Allah is you know, there is an ayah, let me review that for you. In Surat Al-Mujadila, Ya ayyuha alladhina, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is in Surat Al-Mujadila, and this surah is 58, and the ayah is number 7. I want you to refer to this ayah always if you want to have a discussion with someone who think that far, like away from what the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Listen to this. أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. Don't you know, don't you see that Allah knows مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, knows what's on earth and what's in heavens, right? مَا يَكُونُ مِن نَجْوَى ثَلَاثَةٍ إِلَّا هُوَ رَابِعُهُمْ. If there's three sitting aside, they're talking, Allah knows what they're talking about. He's like the fourth of them, right? وَلَا خَمْسَةٍ, no five, إِلَّا هُوَ سَادِسُهُمْ, He's number 6. وَلَا, not less and not more, except that Allah is with them. أَيْنَمَا كَانُوا, wherever they are. ثُمَّ يُنَبِّئُهُمْ بِمَا عَمِلُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and He will tell them exactly what they did on the day of judgment. And look at the end of the ayah, and that is the punchline. That is the punchline. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Right? So Allah, yes, is with the three and with the four, or less or more, with His knowledge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, He is with you with the angels. Through the angels. He put the angels on you, and He knows what you have done, and everything is written for you, right? And that's why where the ayah, right after that, وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Listen to the next ayah. إِذْ يَتَلَقَّى الْمُتَلَقِّيَانِ عَنِ الْيَمِينِ وَعَنِ الشِّمَالِ قَعِيدٌ. So Allah, yes, He is the all-knower, Al-Alim, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has angels on us to write down what we do. إِذْ يَتَلَقَّى الْمُتَلَقِّيَانِ عَنِ الْيَمِينِ وَعَنِ الشِّمَالِ قَعِيدٌ مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. What does atid means? قوي? No? It's fine.
Follow.
Muraqab. Oh. You're not that close. Yes. Ready. Excellent. وَأَعْتَدَتْ لَهُنَّ مُتَّكَأً. Right? Right? We recite that ayah. So, atid, it means ready. He is. It's like when you want to go and listen to a lecture, you have that book with you, notebook with you, and you are ready. You are atid. You know, sometimes it gives you this impression, atid is like intense or shadid or qawi and all this, but it is ready. It is ready, mashallah, excellent. وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ. And you know the rest of the ayah. Now, how in this surah, how is the dialogue? How do you want to convince the one who doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah is the creator? How do you want to convince him there is a hereafter and there is a resurrection? Right? And through those ayat you will find out how. Subhanallah. There is, as one of the scholars says, there is, in order for those ayat, there is ayat al-nadar. Ayat al-nadar. النظر بالآيات المشاهدة. Like you see the evidence that Allah is the creator. Where's that evidence? Can anybody tell me? Huh? It's all over, right? Subhanallah, you look up. أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَوْقَهُم, right? كَيْفَ بَنَيْنَاهَا وَزَيَّنَّاهَا. Look at it, right? Now, أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا, if I ask you, where's the sama? Everybody would say, look at the sama. You look up, right? You know it's فَوْقَهُم, right? But why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَوْقَهُم? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need to say فَوْقَهُم? We all know the sama is فَوْقَهُم. This is for us to pay attention. It's right above you, close to you. Look at it, and you will see the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَوْقَهُم. It's right in front of you, right above your eyes. Just look, you'll see it. أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا. So this is النظر في الآيات المشاهدة والتفكر في الآيات المتلوة. You make tafakkur. If I ask you, you know, what is other ayat? You go, you see the mountains, you see the rivers, you see everything. But what else do you see? How about in yourselves? وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ, right? Subhanallah. What is it that you see in yourself that is the great creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You can tell me. What is it that you see? Huh? What is it? ما شاء الله الحواس طبعا. What else? ها؟ العقل ما شاء الله. So we start with the العقل, the brain. طيب. What is about the عقل? How many, you know, the cells in the nervous cells, they call them neurons, right? How many neurons we have? Plenty, right? MashaAllah. You want to see the number? It's 100 billion. Huh? It's not a million. 100 billion neurons. SubhanAllah. Now, if you want to see, for example, look at your hand. Look at your hand. Nobody's looking at their hand. Come on. You'll see those veins, right? Now, if you take those vessels and you stretch them out in our body, right? How long do you think that will be? What would be the length of that? You know, I have always to look at this because I forget those numbers, but I know they're tremendous.
70 meters.
Huh?
70 meters. No.
7, no, it's not. 60,000 miles. 60,000 miles. I mean, that goes, what is, who knows physics here? What is the Earth? What is the Earth's 50, right? I think the Earth is 50, the diameter is 50. So can you imagine this in our body, in our system? Huh? Now, if you look at the fundus of the eye, if you look through the opening, the pupils, right? And you look, like when you're going to have an eye exam, they look at the retina, right? Right back, in the back of the eye, and there's an optic nerve. There's a nerve there, right? And you see how many nerve fiber in there, huh? And you will see about between 770,000 to 1 million, 1.7. SubhanAllah. In that little thing, it has 1 million fibers. Now, you know, I'm not going to skip the digestive disease, right? Should I? No way. No way. So if you look, you know, when you eat the food, you have the esophagus, that's the food pipe, right? And then the stomach that grinds the food. And then right after that, we call the small intestine. Okay? The small intestine, 3 parts. The first part, they call it in Arabic, Isna Ashar, or in English, they call it the duodenum. And then you have the jejunum, which is the first part of the small intestine, and the last part called the ileum. Anyway, all the small intestine is about 25 feet. And that's where whatever we eat absorbed in those areas, right? So if you see the surface of the lining of those 25 feet and you stretch them out, see the square, how much is the square? You will find is 200 square meter. SubhanAllah. Can you imagine that thing? That's where all this food that we gobble goes into there. SubhanAllah. So all these things, and we when more, I don't want to get more into this, but this is just the أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا, right? وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Look at yourselves. Look at this. That's the evidence. You go to a nice building, and a high-rise building, and the first thing you say, MashaAllah, Muhandis, right? The architect. It's beautiful, right? Let's talk about the greatness of the person who did this. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Allah has the greater example. So this is how the Quran deal with those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب. وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا. Right? The people will not believe, and they deny the belief on two fronts. One is stubbornness. They just don't accept that, right? And the other one, they may want to believe, but they are in heedlessness, in ghafla. And that's where no one but get periods of ghafla, all of us. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the ghafla that takes us away. But the believers, they wake up. Right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا. That's where the dhikra helps. فَذَكَّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So that's why we have to constantly remind ourselves. Sometimes you may skip the salah, all this. I am your companion. And that's why Al-Qareem al-Salih advises, let's come back, let's do this. And that's why it's so important to hang out with the good ones. Because the good ones remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Al-Qareem al-Salih. That's better than Qareem al-Su, the bad companion. So this, where the Quran becomes as a dhikra, and where the salah becomes as a dhikra. Between the salah and the salah, that's what's holds you. Yeah? انتظار الصلاة بعد الصلاة. Who continue? فذلكم الرباط. Right? This is what holds us back. انتظار الصلاة بعد الصلاة. And that's where it keeps us from the ghafla. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us always on His path. Allahumma ameen. And then the dialogue comes in when there is between, the one who deviated, قال قرينه, the bad قرين, ما أبغيته ولكن كان في ضلال بعيد. Right? لا تختصموا لدي. Those are the ones who are good with each other in the dunya on the day of judgment. They will be clashing against you. You did it. No, you did it. The blaming starts. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from that. Allahumma ameen. And then وَأُزْلِفَتِ الْجَنَّةُ. This is the usloob that the Quran has all the time. تَرْغِيبٌ وَتَرْهِيبٌ. تَرْغِيبٌ وَتَرْهِيبٌ. And if you look in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ عَجِبُوا أَنْ جَاءَهُمْ مُنْذِرٌ. Right? Now mundir is a warner, right? But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not just a mundir. إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ شَاهِدًا وَمُبَشِّرًا وَنَذِيرًا. So you have targheeb and tarheeb. But here the siyaq of the ayat is against the kuffar, so you will use the tarheeb. And for the believer, you use what? The targheeb. And the targheeb is وَأُزْلِفَتِ الْجَنَّةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ غَيْرَ بَعِيدٍ هَذَا مَا تُوعَدُونَ. This is what you have been promised. لِكُلِّ أَوَّابٍ حَفِيظٍ. Awwabin is what? They keep coming back. Right? لكل أواب حفيظ من خشي الرحمن بالغيب وجاء بقلب منيب. You see, tawbah, inaba, huh? So all this have the same meaning. Munib is like kathir ruju' ila Allah, right? And awwab is the same thing. That is munib. It's qalbun tahir, pure of shirk, pure of ill feeling. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that qalb. Allahumma illa man ja'a yawma la yanfa'u malun wala banun illa man ata Allah biqalbin salim, healthy. sound. And that is qalb munib, qalb salim. This is where you have a good heart, right? A good heart that is not diseased heart. The diseased heart, في قلوبهم مرض. And I'm not saying the diseased heart is like a heart attack or heart failure. We're talking about the diseased heart of nifaq, diseased heart of riyad, diseased heart of hatred, حقد, and all this. That's to keep away. ادخلوها بسلام ذلك يوم الخلود لهم ما يشاءون فيها ولدينا مزيد. And you know what is the mazid here? When you enter Jannah, you will have extra. What is the extra? Huh? Right, MashaAllah. لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى وَزِيَادَةً. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ziyada, ya Rabbi. Ziyada is to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَذَّةُ النَّظَرِ اللهم ارزقنا لذة النظر إلى وجهك الكريم يا Allah. Now, is Yemen there? Assalamu alaikum. What was the question that I was going to ask you today? I'll let you think about it. I can't hear it. Surat Al-Anfal, MashaAllah. What does Surat Al-Anfal talk about? The battle of
Badr.
Surah Al-Imran talk about the battle of Uhud. That Surah Al-Anfal talk about the battle of Badr. Excellent, MashaAllah. MashaAllah, good, I'm proud of you. MashaAllah, yeah. Next time, inshallah, we'll have a little bit. Next time, inshallah, it's going to be Eid. So I think where's will we take a break on Eid? And I have no problem, I can come all the time. It's okay. I think let's see consensus. You want a halaqah on the Eid on Saturday? This is this is Eid, right? How about if we get some gifts for me? Maybe we'll have a nice breakfast shake. What do you think? Inshallah. Shall we get some donuts? I'll bring the donuts. MashaAllah. طيب, I'm going to, inshallah, stop right here. I know you had a long tahajjud, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Allahumma ameen. Do you have any questions before we end? Comments? Yes. تفضل شيخ محمد. MashaAllah. Excellent. Yes. MashaAllah. So this is also about the discussion of the resurrection. The resurrection. The one who denies resurrection. أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا إِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you the first time, He can create you the second time, right? And He has created the heavens and earth, which returning you back will be much easier, right, than creating the heavens and earth. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Remind me of the ayah that says حبل المتين. حبل المتين, I thought it was in the hadith. It wasn't in the ayah. Can you look it up on your phone? Just search the word حبل المتين. I think there was a hadith حبل المتين. Oh yeah, it was just a Quran. And it was not in the ayat. You're talking about the ayat or? Yeah, the حبل المتين, there's a hadith, I think it's narrated by Ali ibn Abi Talib, if I remember. Some people made it ضعيف, ولكن المعنى صحيح. And it's used in the Targheeb. That is, الحبل المتين is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. So that term is used in the Quran as حبل, right? And here, حبل الوريد, حبل, it means like a cord, like something elongated, and that's al-warid is like the vein or the vessel. Allah knows best.
Yesterday, Dr. Lawi, Brother Munir visited us.
Yes. Okay.
And he said that you know him.
Of course.
Or he knows him.
Right.
So we need your endorsement if you think he deserves it.
Sure. طيب. This is Habib Munir. Now, I don't speak in the name of the masjid now. I speak personally. okay, because we are non-for-profit, and we can't endorse one versus the others. But what we can, I can tell you what I know about Hamid. Can you shut off this?
Shut off this one.
Yeah, shut off.